Judgement Day +3. Still driving the streets of Belgrade. We are now at Savamala. This is now the heart of the nightlife of Belgrade. We'll be passing close to the most important clubs, located practically all of them in Betonhale. Practically this used to be the Belgrade River Harbor, and Hale means practically warehouses or halls. So the ex-warehouses have been converted over the past 10-15 years into modern clubs, and practically the center of gravity of the nightlife in Belgrade is now there for the last, well, I would say the last 10 years. What we see here is Branko's Bridge from another angle. We have been filming it already a few days ago from the other end, from New Belgrade, but now you can see how does it look like from the old town perspective. We will be going under the bridge. This is still the construction site of the Belgrade waterfront, so a lot of construction taking place here. And in front of us we see Kalemegdan and Beton Halls. I mean, the clubs are on our left. There is still a river harbor and still some river cruisers. Let me see if there is one right now as we speak. No, obviously they are all cancelled because of the situation with Corona. What we'll do now, so on our left you don't see much of the clubs, but that's it. In front of us is Kalemegdan, and we will be driving around Kalemegdan, which is one of the nicest roads in Belgrade, at least according to my opinion. So on our right is Kalemegdan, and in front of us is actually on our practically exactly in front of us is the confluence of Sava river into Danube. This is what we look a bit further is the Great War Island that I was also mentioning a couple of times in the past, and on our left are the walls of Kalemegdan. Actually the remains of the walls are everywhere. You can see also to the left and right. The Nebojša Tower or Kula Nebojša is now to be seen on our right, straight ahead and then right. Now it will be exactly in front of us. There are a lot of mysteries attached to this tower and some stories, fairy tales. Who knows how true they are, but yeah. Now in front of us is again the remainings of Kalemegdan. And one interesting thing about Belgrade is that the Belgrade Zoo is located exactly within the walls of the fortress. So on our right we'll be seeing practically part of the zoo, and on our left is the construction site of this is one rather big development taking place at the moment. The buildings of the ex-Beko, which was famous in ex-Yugoslavia, very famous confection, one of the 3 or 4 largest textile factories. We are now entering the Dorcol area. Dorcol now being the most lively part of town in terms of foreign visitors, especially the ones coming via or staying at Airbnb and Booking.com accommodations, not so much hotels, but rather the apartments. So cheaper accommodation, younger people. There is one street in parallel to this one called Strahinića Bana, but in local language it is called Silikonska Dolina or Silicon Valley, practically indicating that a lot of so-called sponzoruše have been circling around. Sponzorusha is a term practically reflecting the female whose only point in life is to get grasp of a rich male, and so as to be sponsored, if possible, by the rest of her life by the above mentioned male, I mean wealthy male. And most of such species have implants, I mean, of silicone at certain points of their bodies. So hence the name Silicon Valley, not indicating chips and technology companies, but rather this type of silicone that is used for implants. That's the street exactly in parallel to this one that I'm now driving. As you see, a lot of construction taking place, because historically this area was quite a mixture of Jewish population, Turkish population, and of course the local Serbs. It was also known as for its small shops with crafts. So this is maybe the area that reminds, one of the areas that reminds quite a lot of Athens practically, and Thessaloniki as well. I mean, Greece in general, cities in Greece. Because even today you can see some very old, not as much as in Athens, but still you can see here some of the old shops of some crafts. Mostly the interior of which didn't change for the last who knows how many years. And next to them really modern hype restaurants, clubs, bars, etc., etc. So exactly what you can see in Athens, for instance, in this city area or some other areas, this is also, I mean, typical for this area. Of course, now that the number of recently built or rebuilt pubs, bars, clubs is increasing, while the old shops with crafts are practically being slowly but surely extinguished. We are still at Dorcol. In front of us, I mean, if we will be driving straight ahead, at some point we will be reaching Danube and the river port of Danube. This is also, there was an area there that was supposed to be something similar to the Belgrade waterfront. The initial idea was to use the warehouses there at the port of Danube and make really fancy accommodation. And this in front of us is quite typical. I mean, ever since my birth I was seeing sceneries of that kind. So the gypsies collecting various stuff from metal, waste, paper, carton, or other type of waste. They are driving these funny vehicles called freza, which is usually used in the gardens for smaller, I mean, whenever the area of the garden is small for a tractor, then these small things were used to do the cultivation practically. But in most cases, gypsies are using such vehicles, I mean, for as real transportation means, and they produce this funny sound. But again, it's so typical, actually. I mean, very typical. In the past, some 30 years ago, they were still using horse carriages, but this is a kind of a modern version, let's say, as modern as it can get. Okay, I'll be doing. I'm not going to do it. I'll be waiting for some more meters. Again, there are new developments to the right and to the left. And this in front of us and to the left is now really kind of an industrial and commercial area, mostly consisting of warehouses, storages, etc., etc. So it's quite ugly part of town. I mean, to the left, to the right, it's a quite regular area, even with some relatively good, nice buildings, nice houses. So this area here, we have entered so-called Cvicheva Street, one of the, which some 1 kilometer further is changing name to Dimitra Tucovića, the famous Dimitriala, and we are now crossing also one of the very famous streets. Used to be called the street of 29th of November. This used to be the day of Republic of Yugoslavia, I mean, in the past, during the socialist era of Tito's Yugoslavia, and now it's called the Despota Stefana Street. And as I said, this is now relatively old, but still, I mean, nice neighborhood. To the left, the area is known as the Profesorska Kolonia, so the colony of professors, indicating the majority of the inhabitants. Okay, I mean, that's that much for now, and talk to you soon.